Yeah, we definitely have these dreams that in the past I would have been like, that's not realistic. But now I'm like, no, this is definitely very doable. We can make this happen. We can grow our business to sell it or to leave it for our kids.
You're listening to The Successful Bookkeeper with your host, Michael Palmer. Listen each week as inspiring guests share their secrets of success to help you increase your confidence, work smarter, and build a business you love. This episode of The Successful Bookkeeper is brought to you by PureBookkeeping.com, the proven system to grow your bookkeeping business.
Welcome back to the Successful Bookkeeper Podcast. I am your host, Michael Palmer, and today's show is going to be a fantastic one. Our guest is the owner of Splendid Bookkeeping, Paola Gleghorn. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Michael. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you, and I love the story of how we connected. You received the Successful Bookkeeper book on LinkedIn, and you sent me a message, and it was such an interesting take on where you were in your bookkeeping business journey. And I just thought, I love hearing those stories of how people start and grow their business. And so I was so excited that you accepted our invitation to be on the show. And before we get into all of that, please tell us a little bit about your career journey leading up to this point.
Okay, absolutely. So actually back in 2016, we were living in Virginia, and my husband got a job offer to move to Los Angeles, California. Big deal, big, cross-country move. So, but we went ahead and took it. I have 5 kids, so it was a really big move. But I'm from Los Angeles, actually, and I have family there. So we were kind of excited about it. It was bittersweet, though, because I really liked Virginia. Anyway, so we ended up in Los Angeles raising our 5 kids. And I don't know, maybe within a few months of being there, we were like, okay, finances are getting a little tight. We were just a 1-income family. I was a stay-at-home mom with my kids. And so I decided, okay, I need to go get a job and see, what I can find. So I started looking, and I was looking at bookkeeping jobs because I had done a little bit of bookkeeping years ago. But everything I was looking at was just like, didn't pay enough. I still had it. My youngest was like 2 at the time, and I needed enough to cover his childcare expenses. And I was looking, and like I said, it wasn't paying enough. And I thought, okay, maybe time for me to start a business. And I've actually always wanted to have a business since I was like a little girl. That's something I wanted to do. I had a dad who was a business owner. So we have this entrepreneur spirit in the house. And I just kind of wanted to wait until my kids were a little older. But so I decided I was going to go ahead and do it at this point in time just to kind of help our family financially. I was like, well, maybe I can do bookkeeping. And I came across the program Bookkeeper Business Launch. And I did that. I decided I was going to go ahead and invest myself. And I graduated from that program. And then I went ahead and launched my business. That was about 2017. And I did get a client, but it wasn't really a good fit. I was really not picky. I should have been a little bit more pickier about her, but I wasn't. So she was not paying me, basically. So I was just like, this is not working. So I fired her. I'm not even sure how else to say that, but basically and then that was it. So then at this point, we decided to actually transition our kids back into homeschooling, because actually our kids were in public school for just a little bit. I just needed a break after having kid number 5. But once we were in California, we were like, okay, let's go ahead and homeschool our kids. And I was still, marketing, but I wasn't doing a whole lot of marketing. I haven't been the best at doing, marketing my business. I've learned since then. Anyways, I started homeschooling the kids. And then at that same week that I started homeschooling my kids, I got my first real client. And I was like, okay, here we go. So it was just kind of like trying to figure out how to balance both of those things. Thankfully, I had homeschooled before, so it was a little difficult, but not too difficult. But then just trying to figure out how to have my first client and meet their needs and make sure I was taking care of them.
We'll get back to the interview in just a few moments. But right now, here's a quick message from our sponsor. Let me ask you a question. Are you frustrated with how long it takes to get stuff in your bookkeeping business? or with how chaotic or confusing things seem to be? Well then, let me tell you about a much better way of getting work done by using an amazing tool that will help you overcome the frustrating log jams in your bookkeeping business. Sweet Process is a simple but powerful solution that lets you create clear, step-by-step instructions for every task in your bookkeeping business, from new client onboarding to executing client work to responding to client requests. So everything gets done more easily and reliably. Plus, you'll have a central place where everyone who works with you, your employees, contractors, and even virtual assistants, can access your procedures anytime from any device. The best way to understand how Sweet Process streamlines your work is to start using it. The company offers a 14-day free trial, but as a loyal listener of this podcast, you can try it for 28 days free of charge. You don't even have to enter your credit card to get started. Just go to sweetprocess.com/successful bookkeeper to begin your free 28-day trial today. Thank you for taking the time to hear from our sponsor. Now let's get back to the interview.
So that brings us into like 2018. And then basically what happened at that point, I did get a couple more clients that worked out. But at the end of 2018, we had another move, the cross-country move. So we moved back from Los Angeles. We actually moved to Ohio, which is where we are now. And I was actually excited about this move because it is definitely a lower cost of living and raising 5 kids. It just was a great fit for our family. So I was able to transition my business and the homeschooling here to Ohio with it was not too stressful. The move itself was stressful, but transitioning that stuff was pretty good. That was at the end of 2018. Then by 2019, we actually were just transitioning, trying to figure out the community, trying to get my kids into homeschooling activities. I was still serving my clients, but I really didn't have any time to market. I was not marketing my business at all. And really in the back of my mind, I just kept feeling like I just don't have time to take on more clients. Like, I just don't know how to do this, And so 2019, that's kind of how I spent 2019 with my business and my kids and my family, and trying to figure out how do I prioritize my children and grow my business. I think I was in a mental block, really. So then 2020 hit, right? Then we went into 2020 and COVID hit and I lost my clients, and I hadn't had any marketing. So I didn't have anybody coming on board at this point. So I was actually at a point where I thought, well, maybe this just isn't the right time. We live in a lower cost of living area. Maybe I don't need to continue with the business for now. Maybe I can just pick it up later. And I just was really procrastinating, honestly. I know I needed to make a decision. I had enough funds in my business to kind of keep it going a little bit for the rest of the year while I decided, but I didn't really want to decide because I wasn't sure what to do, how to do it. So as we approached the end of 2020, I was like, okay, I need to decide. Like, this is a new year. I need to figure out if I'm going to go ahead and go full on here or just, put my business to rest. So I decided I needed some inspiration. And I actually, saw your book. I started reading the book, The Successful Bookkeeper, and I was enjoying it. And then I got to, I think it's chapter 3 or 4, I don't remember, but it's about the commitment. And I actually wanted to skip that chapter because I have commitment issues. And I was like, oh, but then I thought, no, I got to do things in order. That's how I work. That's how my brain works. So I read it and God, I'm so happy I did. I'm so glad I did, because there's a section in there. It talks about commitment isn't like, you have to spend 40 hours a week on your business. No, it's like if you have 3 hours, if you have kids at home, you have 3 hours a week, that you use those 3 hours to commit 100% of your time, of your mind on your business for that week. And I thought, I can do this. I can definitely commit 3 hours a week. And it just really changed my mind, the way I view things. And I feel like everything opened up again. And I thought, okay, I got this. I can do this. I can do 3 hours a week. I can do more, actually. I can commit 100% of my time during that time that I give to my business. And while I'm with my kids, I can also commit my time with my kids. I just have to manage it. And, and the funny thing is that I was thinking, this is what I tell my children. I tell my kids, hey, if you only have 45 minutes to do math, for today, just make sure that you focus 45 minutes of your attention on math. I just wasn't sure how to translate that. I guess I never translated that to myself or my business. And so I just decided, okay, I'm going to go for it. So I put myself out there. I reached out to my former clients and I started meeting some new people on LinkedIn, and I, pretty quickly onboarded 2 new clients, and it kind of happened really fast. And I decided that I needed some help a little bit. So I went ahead and I also hired a virtual assistant, and I'm just really excited. I've been meeting new people and new business owners, and the business is just really growing, and I'm really excited about it, and it was just because I changed my mindset that it's not about like, oh, I don't have time. I kept telling myself that, but really I just needed to set aside, time to commit to my business during that special time that I had for it. So that's kind of where I'm at now. So, yeah.
Amazing. It's such an interesting story. I mean, I love that you've really unpacked for us where you were, and I'm sure many, and myself, can relate to being almost stuck where you're at. Maybe it's procrastination and, this whole, why would we do anything if we didn't think it was going to be good for us? Right? Like if you would think like, I'm already overwhelmed, I've got 5 kids and my goodness, how can I help these clients? How can I get involved with these clients? It's not going to go well. I mean, why would you take any action if that was the case? And so I think many people get stuck there and they blame themselves or make themselves wrong for not doing anything. And what's broken is not necessarily it's just the mindset. It's just the context that you were holding about your business. And so I'm really grateful that you got the book and you got that mind shift in around your context of what it is to be committed to your business and making it work. And I think for many, I mean, anything you want for your life is possible. It's just essentially figuring out what you want and then creating a context on how it can be for you. So such an interesting. So when you did that, it happened really fast as well. You put yourself out there. You onboarded 2 new clients. And what was that like, bringing these clients on? How did that go?
Well, actually, so in the past, I had this mindset where I'm like, okay, I don't want to, bother people. So this one client was like, yeah, I really need you, but he wasn't getting back to me. So I normally would just like email someone, and I thought, in the past, I just emailed them and just be like, okay, if I don't hear from them, then, move on, But this time I was like, just the fact that I changed my mindset, I thought, I'm here to help business owners. That's what I do. And I know this business owner needs me. He's reached out to me. So I just decided to pick up the phone and actually call him. He was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. It's been so busy. Yes, please, let's get going. And I said, awesome. That's what I want to do. Let's do this, So I feel like I wasn't timid like I used to be, I guess. I was just like, I know what I have to offer. I know what I can help you with. And I was able to actually clear a path for them, figure out what their needs were. And I'm not sure if I answered that question, but it was exciting. And I guess I was more clear-minded with what they needed for their business. And that's kind of how that went.
Well, it's kind of cool because when you're in commitment, you relate differently to asking others to get committed as well. It would be,
yeah.
And what happens too, when people get clear and have clarity in their mind about something, body language changes, tonality, your voice changes, what you say, the words you use change, and it makes a difference. I mean, it really makes a difference. And that's why we hear often of really successful people in any industry, sports, doing this. It's mindset work. They're working on their mindset, because if they show up to a golf game or to a basketball game or to the business meeting with, I'm going to lose, well, guess what? They're more likely to lose. They don't do that. They work and put so much energy into winning and doing what they need to do, and not necessarily winning, but performing to their best, doing the best that they can, and visualizing what they will do and how they will do it, and visualizing it going their way. And that's what creates the future. That's what creates this. So you did that. You kind of, in your own way, got committed to, I've got these many hours. I'm going to commit to those hours. I'm going to commit to having a business that I want. And then that shows up in actually results. And so you actually, your behaviors changed and your results changed because you changed your context, your mindset. And chapter 3 is titled, well, I just pulled it up here. It was sitting next to me, as it often does. The title is, Where Are You Now? And so where are you now? Obviously, the next question would be, where do you want to go? But one of the quotes on that chapter is, your life does not get better by chance. It gets better by change. That's by Jim Rohn. That is a quote by Jim Rohn, who's a personal development person out of the U.S. and a very famous one. In fact, Tony Robbins got his start working, actually going to Jim Rohn's courses way back in the day. So he's a powerful person to follow, and lots of great positive mindsets. But, in this chapter, it talks a lot about just barriers that were there. And so some of them are fear of failure, lack of confidence or courage, perceived lack of support, fear of hiring the wrong people, fear of change. So there's all these fears that, as humans, we have a part of our brain that has us think about these things and be worried about these things. I mean, it's there to protect us, to keep us alive, to keep us from doing things that will have us expire. And so often, though, the mind can run rampant if not worked on and massaged, if you will, to be fearful for things that are not even logical. And so I love this story, how you were going to make these calls, and prior it'd be like, you don't want to interrupt them. Like, that's a fear of being disliked. But you were committed, so that changed for you because you were committed.
Pretty much. Yeah, that's exactly right.
So now that you're here and you're doing this, what has come up for you in terms of, do you see your future differently? What do you see for your business going forward?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Like, I'm just like, okay, we are definitely, my husband's like, okay, I want in on this. Because I'm just like, my goal is really to grow our business. I see myself more of a business owner, not just as a bookkeeper, which is another mindset I changed that, your book also helped with. But I'm a business owner, and I want to hire on bookkeepers that are as committed. And, I thought, okay, I want to be able to hire employees who, are stay-at-home parents that want to be able to take care of the families, but also want to be able to provide financially for their families, and I want to have that flexibility for them that, where I can create like a family environment on that end. And then I also want to be able to onboard clients who really value the bookkeeping service. Sometimes clients don't know what they value until they have it. A lot of times I'll have clients be like, wow, I've had bookkeepers for years and I've never seen this, somebody going over the books with me or whatever. So, I'd like to go, our goal is to definitely end up in the 6-figure range, grow our business, and at the end be able to either sell our business or, leave it as a legacy for our children, if they want to continue in on it. My kids, my oldest girl is 19, and then I have a 15-year-old, and they always like, Mom, I want to learn how to have a business, how to do this kind of stuff. So I'm excited about that too. I'm excited that I can be an example for my kids as a business owner. But yeah, we definitely have these dreams that in the past I would have been like, that's not realistic. But now I'm like, no, this is definitely very doable. We can make this happen. We can grow our business to sell it or to leave it for our kids.
Wonderful.
That's kind of where it is, yeah.
I love it how it's just really makes me happy to hear you creating, and also it's really nice that the book has helped you, and that's chapter 4. Where do you want to go? And you've thought this through. You've created I'm sure in the book I talk about the 7 habits of highly effective people. One of those is thinking with the end in mind, right? You've got somewhat of an exit plan designed. In fact, you have 2. You have an exit through a sale, or you have an exit through transitioning the business to a family member, if they so choose. Many people don't think about that. Or if they even do think about it, they tell themselves, gee, how would I ever do that? I couldn't do that. So I won't even dare to dream about that, and fear of being disappointed. But you can never have something if you don't first create it in your mind. And that's where everything begins. And chapter 4 is, where do you want to go? The quote there is, to the person who does not know where he wants to go, there is no favorable wind. So to the person who does not know where he wants and she wants to go, of course, it's a quote by a very old philosopher, so they didn't have that gender equality in there. To the person who does not know where she wants to go, there is no favorable wind. And that's by Seneca, the philosopher. I just love hearing these words of wisdom from past wise people being put into action today by yourself, but through just consuming positive information and taking action with it. When you know where you want to go, the winds will blow in your favor. And you've done that. You're aboard this new ship with the sails up, and there's a wind now blowing you. And where will that take you? Where have you been surprised by this new vision, this new commitment? Have you had any surprises?
Yeah, honestly, hiring a virtual assistant was huge, because I thought that wasn't going to come for several years, honestly, before, right? This time I was talking with my husband. I said, last time I didn't think bigger. I thought so small, because I thought, I don't have time, So I thought, I can only have these many clients. I can't do more. But this time I was just surprised that, honestly, when you open your mind, I thought, okay, I have these clients, and now I need a virtual assistant to help me with, running the business and helping out with the bookkeeping. And so I was really surprised that, I did the interview with different virtual assistants, and I found one that fits the values of my business. And, I hired her, and I was that was really surprised. I was like, wow, I can't believe I did this. This is a big risk, but I love it. And she's been great. And it just creates room for more growth, I guess. So,
remarkable.
Yeah, that was a big surprise for me.
It's kind of cool, because we're kind of bumping along here chapter by chapter. Chapter 5, committing to your mission. And the quote here is, the world steps aside for those who know where they are going. And that was anonymous, and sort of interesting. And in light of, I just read something recently that quotes that back in the day that were anonymous were often written by women, which is kind of interesting how our world has changed. Women were not favorably looked upon if they were saying something wise. So things have changed, and it was just International Women's Day. It's kind of a nice thing to highlight as well. So we're gonna say it's anonymous by a very wise woman. But the quote is, the world steps aside for those who know where they are going. And so you got committed, you got a vision, you know where you want to go, and all of a sudden things are falling into place. Now, believe me, there's a chapter about the dip in here where things go sideways, but that's part of the journey. But when you know where you're going, the dips are less risky, because you just figure it out. You get where you want to go. Now, there's another quote in this book in chapter 5 that I think just fits where you are, and I want to read it. And it's one of my favorite. It has been one of my favorites. That's why I put it into the book. And it inspires me all the time. I'm going to read it here for you. And I know you've read the book, but you'll remember this likely. And this quote is by William H. Murray, The Story of Everest. It's from a book. So, until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth. the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. It is this: the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves you. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events, issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance which no person could have dreamed would have come their way. I have learned a deep respect for one of Goethe's couplets. Whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now. And that was William H. Murray from The Story of Everest. And here, it's like perfect to your story because you were there lingering for a few years in hesitancy, drawing back, ineffectiveness. And literally once you got committed, the gates opened and there was all sorts of opportunities, things, material assistance, things that you needed because you were committed. And so for the listener right now, hopefully that inspires you. It's understand where you are, understand where you want to go, commit to getting there, and things will start to unfold and transform before your eyes because of that.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I love that.
So you've been surprised, you're building away. Have you had any setbacks since getting committed?
So, this has just been like since January, really, that I was just like, I made the decision, of this year. And I definitely, there's times where I wake up and I'm just like, okay, am I doing the right thing today? Are we still on the right path? So there's definitely where doubt will creep in, and then I'll just have to remind myself no, this is okay. And really what I'm doing now is I'm saying, okay, you said earlier how we have fears sometimes, and it's really there. Like I see it as red flags, or, our feelings are there to kind of say, hey, something's not right here. Let's readjust. And that's, so, having to still manage homeschooling and my business, I've had to kind of play around with it a little bit. I said, okay, maybe I'll do this in the morning and then this in the afternoon. No, that didn't work. Let's change it around. Let's flip it, So I like that because I can kind of adjust and then say, okay, this works better. So, I can be like, okay, this isn't working. Maybe I have to, in the past, I would be like, I have to get rid of something. Now I'm just like, okay, no, let's readjust and let's see if this works better, this direction or this way, or, like Play-Doh, kind of like, let's create it a little differently. So, yeah, so I have to, I do struggle with some doubt and trying to figure out okay, now I've added a few, more hours for business because, my number one commitment is to my family. I love my kids and I homeschool, and I love, our family time, and I don't want to give that up, and I don't plan to give that up, so I'm so focused on that while saying, okay, this extra time that I have, I'm devoted to my business, and before I would always feel like a little guilty to kind of be working in my business, and sometimes that'll creep up, but now, I've drawn my kids into it. I say, hey, this is what mommy's doing. This is why I'm doing this, and they're kind of on board with it and they're very supportive of it. And so that helps a lot too, to have the family there to support what I'm doing so that when I do have doubts, they're like, Mom, you got this. Or my husband's like, you got this, babe, and that's encouraging. So.
Oh, so wonderful. Doubt is real and it's there for everyone. And so thank you for sharing that. And I just love, your commitment to your family, your commitment to your business, and as well, what I can hear is what a remarkable gift you're giving to your children in having them see their mother work to have her dreams fulfilled through business. I mean, it's inspiring a whole generation, couple of generations there of young people to see that anyone can make a life and a business for themselves, and it's available. And that's the great, the blessings that we all have living in free countries where we can choose and we can go out there. It's available to everyone. It's not easy, but it's available to you. And if you do the work and you put the time in and you commit to it, you can have it happen. And so that's what they get to see their mom doing. And really, I love it because I know that inspiring anyone to be in business for themselves and be successful at it, and that's where the bookkeepers come in, because if you have a good bookkeeper, great bookkeeper, they're going to help you be more financially successful, because we don't want a whole bunch of businesses. We want a whole bunch of thriving, successful businesses in our communities, because those create the best kind of jobs. Those create wealth inside of communities, and we need that. And we're always up against big conglomerate businesses that are not necessarily, they're good, we need a mixture of everything, but small business, that's the lifeblood of communities. And so not only are you running a business, but you're running a business that helps business owners be more effective, be more financially empowered, and therefore have more longevity. And those are the best kind of jobs to create in communities. So just absolutely love that. And just another point on fear of a failure, or, am I doing the right thing, and doubt. In Chapter 7, Breaking Through Seth Godin's Dip, one of my favorite authors, Seth Godin, wrote a book called The Dip, and it's about how, it's knowing when to quit and when to continue. And his quote from that book is, most competitors quit long before they've created something that makes it to the top. And that's it. There is no failure unless you quit. When you quit, you failed. Right? Maybe. Yeah. Now in The Dip, he resets that context, which is you may have won by quitting, right? Because now you're on to something that might be right for you. So there's no right or wrong answer. But with your business, Paula, as long as you continue, you will go through the ups, the downs, and you're figuring it out. Like you said before, this didn't work out, so let's tweak this and tweak that. You're trying to find how to make the business shape and mold around your life. And I think that's the best way. Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I just want to say, I'm really excited because my kids, I have little entrepreneurs running around the house, starting businesses left and right. And I love that about them. And, that's kind of how I grew up too, with my dad having a business. So that's right. That's right. The legacy of the entrepreneurial spirit is being passed on from your father through you to your children, and therefore to their children, perhaps, and maybe not. It's not the only way. We also need people to do all the other things that are out there in the world. So we need a balance. But I think it's the entrepreneurial spirit is such an interesting one, and it doesn't necessarily need to live inside a small business. The entrepreneur can live within a large organization. It's about creation and dreaming, and giving your best, and making things better. So that can be applied to all areas of life. So, Paula, this has been absolutely refreshing and exciting, and I hope inspiring for our listener. And I really want to thank you for your generosity and coming on the show and sharing where you're at in your business and where you're going. And I'm going to really love to have you back and give us an update down the track. Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. And of course, if people want to get in touch with you, or, to connect with you and be, fellow business owners on the journey, what would be the best way for them to go and find you? They can find me at splendidbookkeeping.com, or they can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm on there as Paola Gleghorn, and my business, actually, I'm trying to grow a following. So if you're going to come support me, Splendid Bookkeeping business at LinkedIn, that'd be great. Absolutely. Please, listener, connect with people like Paula, and we'll, of course, have those links in our show notes. And so, again, Paula, thank you. Thank you so much. We've talked a lot about the Successful Bookkeeper book today. If you would like to get a copy, of course, you can just go to the Successful Bookkeeper, and we have a great offer there where you can get the book for free. Just pay a little bit of shipping. Get the book, have it inspire you to go on and do whatever is important to you. And with that, we will wrap another episode of the Successful Bookkeeper podcast. To learn more about today's wonderful guest and to get access to all sorts of valuable free business building resources, you can go to thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. Until next time, goodbye.
You've been listening to The Successful Bookkeeper with Michael Palmer. For more information and to download the resources mentioned in this episode, please visit us at thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. Thank you for listening.